Have you ever feel that your mind is your worst enemy, or the most judgmental person in your life is yourself? This is very common, it happens to everyone, and it's because we don't manage correctly our positive intelligence. But what is positive intelligence? Positive intelligence is an indication of the control you have over your own mind and how well your own mind acts in your best interest. A good example of our lack of positive intelligence in our lives, for example, could be if you have a meeting or if you have a test or something that keeps you nervous. Imagine this, you are sleeping 3 a.m. in the morning and you wake up with some anxiety or some nervous about this meeting. It's very common that this happens. What is not common is that you have those feelings at that time of the day. In this specific case, your mind is not acting like your friend, it's acting like your enemy. Because the feelings of anxiety or nervous at that time, they are not going to help you to do better. The only thing they are doing is making you feel less than you are. These thoughts are called saboteurs, and we develop while we are childs because it protects us from danger. It's very common to have saboteurs while we grow up, or even when we are older, but that doesn't mean that having those saboteurs is wrong. When you have the saboteurs while you are a child, they protect you, they are your friends. And when you grow up, they are your worst enemy, and sometimes we confuse them as our friends. A good way to see the saboteurs is that when you are a child, you need to drink breast milk. But when you are grown up, you don't need to drink that milk because you need to start to eating real food. That's the way the saboteur works. When you're a child, they protect you, but now they are not worth it, and it could be bad for yourself. Chapter number 1 of the book, she says that it's very difficult to get rid of these saboteurs because normally they are like an automatic pattern in our minds. Even though we want to change them or we want to get rid of them, it's very difficult. That's why we need to start to exercise and realize in what moments of our lives the saboteurs appear. So I'm going to ask, how many times have you ever tried to change something that you don't like you about yourself or some saboteurs that you have? I have tried a million times of change some attitudes that I don't like about myself or some thoughts that I have about myself. It is very difficult to me to keep with that because for me it's very natural to think bad things about me, and it's more easy to criticize myself than just be good to me. In chapter number 2, we meet our saboteurs. The first one, the judge. Then, the stickler, the hyperachiever, the pleaser, the victim, the hyper-rational, the hyper-vigilant, the restless, the controller, and the avoider. After meeting all the saboteurs, I asked myself, what was the saboteurs that I see in my normal life, and in what moments I see them. The saboteurs that I see on myself are the judge, the controller, and the avoider. The judge normally happens every day. When I have an activity or when I do something, I start to think after I did how I could do better, or even sometimes I think that I could do better and I didn't. That's why the judge is one of the saboteurs that I have every day. The controller normally appears when I work in groups. I like to take the leader. Sometimes I think I'm a little bit dictator. And the avoider is because I prefer to keep some things for me and not sharing, avoiding all the conflict or avoiding the thoughts of the other people about my thoughts. So I prefer to keep it quiet. There are 3 strategies that you could follow to weaken the saboteur. The first one is to let the saboteur know that you know he is expecting. For example, when you thought like something, you can do it. The first thing that you need to do is think, I know this judge, the controller, or the saboteur that you identify in yourself is talking. The strategy number 2 says that you need to shift the perspective of the saboteur to a sage perspective. In that way, you could weaken your saboteur. The third strategy is to train your PQ muscles. In our brain, we have different muscles that help us to create a new thought. In this case, we want to train the ones that give us positive intelligence. In this way, we are going to be different, or we are going to be able to identify the difference from the PQ brain and the survival brain. The survival brain is the one that has all the saboteurs, and the PQ is the one that has the stage. Chapter number 3 says that the main saboteur is the judge. The judge is like the mom of the other saboteurs. For example, says that because you have a judge in your mind or you are thinking in a judgy way, you can be a controller, you can be a avoider or a victim or another saboteur that you identify on yourself. Also says that the first thing that you need to do is follow the strategy number 1, that is label your saboteur. So tell me, how you're going to label your saboteur? The label that I'm gonna put to my saboteurs are going to be the name in English. I speak Spanish, so for me it will be more easy to remember in English, like the judge or the avoider. And for controller, I'm gonna put the dictator, or in Spanish, el dictador, because I feel like those are good ways to remember the names of them. Chapter number 4 is about the judge, the main saboteur of all of them. For example, we judge ourselves every day for the things that we did and we shouldn't do or we should do better. Also, we judge others for the things that they do or they don't, and we create a perspective of them. Also, we judge the circumstances, if they were good for us or if there was bad for us. The thing is that we need to try to work the judge with some exercises or realizing in the moment that the judge is present. For the final question, I'm gonna ask a question that is in the book. It's on chapter number 4 and says, what would you change at work and your personal life if your judge voice were significantly weakened? For me, what would change about not having the judge voice all the time is that I would do some things that I never could be capable of doing because of the judge voice. The judge voice sometimes says to me, like, I'm not good enough, or sometimes says that I shouldn't do something, and I believe it. So I think that if that voice isn't in my head, I would do it, even if the things are wrong or even if the things doesn't go the way that I want to. Maybe I will learn something new, or maybe I will be more happy about it. The most important thing about the positive intelligence is not only that you are going to silence a voice that could be negative in your life, but also it will help you if you work in a team or if you work in an enterprise. This will help you. The book Positive Intelligence has different examples of different people that apply positive intelligence in their companies and how well it turned out. Sometimes the negativity, the only thing that causes is more negativity. So you need to start to change your mind. You need to start to believe in yourself and also hear the sage, not the saboteur voice.